Okay, so now once we already know that what is AI agent and what kind of components of AI agents are there, it's a time we can start developing our agents. Now in this particular flow, as we know that in this course we are going to focus on step-by-step guide to developing AI agents in Azure. So let me tell you one thing, that there are multiple ways to create agents in Azure. The first and the easiest way is you can use Azure AI Foundry portal. The second way, which is actually preferred by most developers, is something which is a code first approach of developing AI agents. Now we are going to see different approaches in different labs now. This is the first and the most important lab for you to understand the components of Azure AI agent, and that's what we are starting right now. So let me just start with my Azure AI Foundry portal. So as you can see, I am at my Azure AI Foundry portal. The URL is ai.azure.com. I have successfully logged in with my personal account, and I have a valid Azure subscription also inside this. For your kind of information, guys, in order to perform this lab, you don't need to have any kind of a lab environment set up in your physical computer, but the only thing which you need is you need an active Azure subscription with access on Azure AI Foundry service. Now, my Azure subscription is also available in the separate tab, and my Azure AI Foundry portal is open in another tab. What I'm going to do? Well, I'm going to create my first agent. As you can see, this is a home page of Azure AI Foundry portal where they are showing you that we have a section for exploring multiple models. So I can go to model catalog, or I have some more capabilities kind of models which are available. Like recently they have added the section for Sora model, which is another OpenAI model for video generation. So this is something which is there. I am going to click on create an agent. It's asking me what kind of a project name you want to give for this. This is my practice that I always add proj at the end of the project name. So I'm just choosing proj with whatever name they have given me by default. And then it is asking me that this is going to create this kind of an Azure Foundry resource in my subscription, which is obviously going to create all the resource in my Azure portal. Which region I want to choose? Well, for the agentic development throughout this course, I mostly prefer Sweden Central or East US 2. So these are the two different regions which we will suggest or we will prefer. And the resource group for this is going to be this one. If you are using your own subscription, I strongly recommend you to choose either Sweden Central or East US 2 region. Also, once you're done with this particular lab, just do not forget to delete this, because these things are going to cost you every hour. So I suggest once you're done with the lab steps, you can delete this thing. Remember one more thing, while the project creation is actually going on, this is the official lab link from Microsoft. So if you are preparing for AI 102 certification exam, this is a lab link which is actually focusing on exploring AI agent development. We are going to follow the same lab steps. As you can see, it is mentioned here that this is going to take approximately 30 minutes. And just now what I have done is I have just created a new agent. And the agent is actually getting created right now. It's going to create all the resources in my subscription. And once this is done, this is going to ask me that what kind of a model deployment you want to do. Now, as we discussed, we have more than 11,000 plus models available in AI Foundry. We can choose any of the models from that. But as per right now, in this particular example, I am going to follow the steps. So I'm going to use the same model which they are suggesting here, which is actually GPT-4o. I'm going to use GPT-4o in this particular example. And after this, we are going to focus on customizing and creating our agent. Remember with this, because we are creating our first agent, I want you to be comfortable with this UI of Azure AI Foundry project, as well as there are a couple of components of this project which we need to understand. Now, two of these components you already know. There's something called knowledge tools, and there's another thing which is called action tools. Obviously, once agent is created, I will show you there is a section called knowledge tool and action tool which are there. Not only that, there are further components like threads. There's a further component called agent ID and thread ID customizations with that. Now, all the things we have to see in this particular video. So it's very important. And if you are doing this thing with me side by side, that's great. I strongly recommend you to have a separate lab environment with your own personal subscription, or maybe you can connect with us and then we can provide a chargeable subscription or an official lab from Microsoft to you. That is something which is available. But yes, Just try to do this thing practically, because that's going to give you a more clarity on the topic. Now I think my project is done. The first thing it is asking me right now is you deploy your model, because without model, our agent will not work. We know that thing. That's the most important component of agent, that we need to have a deployed large language model. Now I have my GPT-4o, which is an option available here. I'm going to click on connect. It's just giving me some options here. I'm okay with everything. The most important thing which I want you to observe is just make sure it is dealing with the same location. So I have selected Sweden Central, and it's showing me 50,000 tokens per minute, which is a capacity for this particular model deployment. Remember, if you are trying to create multiple agents under one language model, then that is something sometimes you need more capacity. Remember, the hierarchical structure is like this. That at the root level, you are going to have your Azure AI project, like the project which I have created. Under one project, you can have multiple models. So under one project, you're going to have multiple large language models or small language models. Under one model, you can have multiple agents. So remember, the hierarchy right now is like the 3 steps: project, then you have large language model, and then you have agents inside that. And all of those agents which you're going to create is going to associate with one or other language model. This is how it is. I am going to click on deploy, and within few seconds, this new deployment of language model is going to be done. Now, because I have created an agent right now, it's actually going to create one agent also, and directly it's going to take me to this screen, which is known as Agent Playground. Another important term, Agents Playground. Now you can see right now, this is Agents Playground, and it's showing me that they have initiated one thread, which is available here with the unique thread ID, and they have created one agent also. So this is something which is with the unique agent ID. Remember guys, this is something which we need to understand, the hierarchical structure. So now if I just open my Notepad file, as I explained, first at the root level, you are going to have something which is actually your project. So basically I can say this is my AI project which I have created in my Azure AI Foundry portal. Under this AI project, you are going to have multiple agents. But remember, inside one project, most of the time, first we are going to create is a language model. It's a language model which we will create, and then under one language model, you can actually have multiple agents. So you can have multiple agents which are going to be configured. As of now, if you see, I have one project with one language model. My language model which I have configured is actually GPT-4o. Obviously, I can have multiple language models also here. So my language model is GPT-4o, which I have configured, and basically that model is deployed. And under that particular model, this agent is actually created. So I do not have multiple agents right now. I just have one agent. Now, in each agent also, you are going to have something which is known as multiple threads. Yes, of course. In each agent also, you can have multiple threads. So you can see right now, this is my agent ID and this is my agent name. Now, agent name is something which is not very important. It's just for the user's point of view, where you can give any name kind of thing. But agent ID is something which is very important from the developer's point of view. And this is something which is going to be useful in our code also when we write a code. Also, just focus on this. This is a section which is Agent Playground, which is showing you that you have multiple deployments which are available. Now, I have one only right now, which is my GPT-4o version of that particular language model, which is deployed. And this agent is actually using this deployment right now. So this is something which is how it is structured. Now, obviously, what is coming under threads? So if do we have something which is under threads also? We'll see that part. But this is the structure which we have seen right now as of now. So this is how it is there. Just keep this thing in mind. Now, one thing which I want you to focus is, this is my agents playground and it has two sections actually. The left side section is basically allowing you to create a new agent. If you want to create multiple agents, you can click on this. Or it's showing you thread logs, which is basically going to show you a conversational history of the user's interaction with this agent. So when user is going to provide some kind of a natural language prompt, and whatever response which you're getting from the agent is all going to be stored inside this thread log section. So you are going to see multiple stepwise actions or stepwise conversation which happen inside this thread logs. Now, as of now, I do not want to do any start chatting kind of thing. I want to do some customization here. And the first step which we need to do is we have to provide a proper agent name. Now, this is a good practice. It's not compulsory, but it's a good practice that whenever you're creating an agent, you provide a proper meaningful name to that agent so that when you work with multiple agents, you should not get confused with that. So I'm just changing a name of this particular agent to expense agent as per the instructions. So I'm just giving a name expense agent. And then after this, I have to provide some proper instructions for this agent. Now, I am going to copy these instructions from this lab URL and I'm going to paste it here. Remember guys, as I said, this is an official lab from AI 102 course, which we are performing right now. So that's the reason I'm doing this thing, because when you are focusing on AI 102 certification exam, you need to have certain skills. And based on those skills, they have created these labs. So I'm just providing this particular instruction here. It's showing me you are an AI assistant for a corporate expense. So basically, this is my expense agent, which is going to be helping me in submitting my expense claims. You answer the questions about expenses based on the expense policy data. Now, where is expense policy data? Well, I have already downloaded that thing, which is given in this particular lab document in this URL. It's basically a Word document. I will show you that Word document very soon. But that Word document is something which we are going to provide right now as a grounding data. So that's what I'm mentioning in the instructions, that you're going to provide, and you're going to answer questions based on this particular expense policy data, which I'm going to add on into this particular agent. And then it's saying if a user wants to submit an expense claim, you get their email address, description of the claim, and the amount to be claimed, and then write the claim details to a text file that user can download. So this is actually going to do two things for me. First, it's going to collect the user's information like email ID and the description about the claim and the amount. And then it's also going to give me a downloadable text file, which maybe I can use to submit my expense claim. Now, how exactly is going to have a logic to download a file? Well, we'll see that thing. For that, our tools are going to help you in that. Now, this is something which is agent instruction. Remember, this is something which is very important. Based on these instructions, the agent is actually going to work. So as you can see here, it is showing you that give your agent clear directions on what to do and how to do it. Also include a specific task, their order, and any specific instructions like tone or engagement style. Now, as of now, my instructions are very straightforward and simple. But in the coming forward, in the coming more samples, we are going to customize this thing with more complexity, and we will add certain rules. We will specifically mention certain tasks with the specific orders. All this kind of variations we are going to see in the coming modules. After this, we have a section which is agent description. Agent description is something which is not that important. You can put whatever description you want. Instructions are more important. Remember that thing. Description is optional, so I do not want to put anything in that. Exactly below this, we have a knowledge tool. And in the knowledge tool, I am going to click on add. This is a section which is actually allowing you to add knowledge tool with your agent. And basically, remember, knowledge tool is actually going to be useful for grounding your responses. Basically, your grounding data is going to be provided with this. And that's why we have multiple options available. Now, in my previous video, I have already discussed about a couple of options there, like you can use file search, Azure AI search, Microsoft Fabric. Now, there are multiple options are there. Some of the options are still in preview. So make sure if you're working for an organization, you're not allowed to use the preview one in your prod environment. And most of the time, as of now, most people are using these three tools only. Basically, the file search, Azure AI search, and grounding with Bing search if you want some real-time kind of a data with that. Now, right now in this particular lab, I am going to start with files because this is going to allow me to provide and upload any files with this. And when I do this thing, I want you to observe that I can select any file from local machine. Now, obviously, I have to keep in mind that only these kind of file types are supported. You can put your logical file also, which is maybe having a logic in C, C++, or maybe you can upload a Word document, or maybe you can upload an HTML file. There are multiple options which are available. I have a Word document, so I'm going to select the local files. I'm selecting my documents section, and I'm just uploading my expense policy.docx. Now, while this is happening here, understand one thing, that this document which you're uploading is logically going to be converted into a vector store. It has an internal configuration available here that whatever you are going to create is going to be converted into a vector store. This is my agent vector store with some kind of a number, which is a name they are giving here. Now I can give whatever name I want, but remember, this is a vector store which is going to be created. And vector data is actually going to help me to search through this and is going to be used by my language model. The process which is happening in this agent is more important than the steps. Remember this thing, guys. Your language model which you have selected is actually going to use this vector store as a grounding data. And using this data is actually going to prepare the answers for my user's conversation. Now, I'm going to click on upload and save. It's a very small file. I'll show you that file in my computer right now so that you can understand what is there inside that. But see this here, a vector store is created in just no time, and it's showing me that there is one file which is referred here. So this is my knowledge tool, which is now configured here successfully. Now, what kind of data is there in this particular Word document? Let's check that. So as you can see here, this is the expense policy document which I've downloaded. It has some data which is focusing on expense category, the limit for that particular category, and the guidelines which are given by the organization. Now, obviously, we have categories like travel, accommodation, meals, entertainment, and some office supplies. And for each one, we have the limit. So a user can actually submit an expense claims of maximum this limit for that category. Like for example, for meals, I can only claim $50 per day, and that is how it is. Okay, going back to our agent, my knowledge tool is actually successfully configured. But don't forget, in the instructions, we have mentioned that we want that this is going to collect email, address, description of the claim, and the amount. And then whatever details which are collected is a claim details. We want that agent should be able to give a file to the user, which user can download. So basically, we need some kind of a file download kind of a logic also here. Now, this is a point where action tools are going to help you, because action tools are going to give the agent the ability to perform tasks. It can be any task. Maybe you want your agent to book a flight ticket for you, or maybe send an email to someone, or like in this case, downloading a file. I'm going to click on add, and you can see right now in this action section, it's showing me that you are giving the agent the ability to perform certain tasks by giving it an access to these actions. Now, there are multiple tools which are available. I am going to use some internal tools like Code Interpreter, OpenAPI 3.0 specified tools, and Logic App in my initial labs. And then after that, I am going to try some custom configurations also, like custom functions and Azure functions, which are also available. Now, let me try something here, which is Code Interpreter. So I'm going to use Code Interpreter right now. Code Interpreter is actually a specific tool which is created here, which is going to read and interpret the information from multiple data sets. It can also generate code for you in Python. So basically, it's going to use the language model, and using that is going to generate a code in Python, and that code is going to be used in the agent logic. And also, it's capable to create some kind of a graphs, charts using your own data if you provide that thing. And it supports up to 20 files in one shot, so not more than that. And that is which is an upper limit associated with Code Interpreter tool as of now. And obviously, it should be less than 200 MB, and it should be having this kind of a text file. So these are all the conditions which you have to keep in mind. There is a wide range of extensions which are supported for the file types. We are not going to upload any files right now, because I'm not going to use my data set configuration right now. I just want to use generate code. And if I want to use generate code, the instructions which I've given in the agent is more than enough. I don't need to upload any logical code file. So I am just adding the Code Interpreter action tool, but I'm not uploading any file as of now in this. I'm going to click on save. When I click on save, this is actually going to show me that my Code Interpreter tool is actually now added into this. Now remember, you can add multiple actions also by clicking on this plus add icon. I just want one knowledge tool and one action tool right now, so I'm not going with more. Also, there is a section for connected agents. If you have multiple agents, they are saying that you can head off thread context to the other agents to focus on a specialized task. Like sometimes you want that certain task will be performed by one agent, and it's going to pass on that thing to another agent. In this kind of scenarios, connected agents are actually going to help you in that. We'll see that also practically in the coming labs. And then somewhere at the bottom of this, we have a section for model settings, which is basically going to allow you to change temperature and top P. I hope you're familiar with temperature and top P. These are basically those values which are helping you to change the randomness of your response. So basically, if you want to get more creative, more random response from this one, you have to change the slider accordingly. I'm just focusing on this right now. So let me check one thing. I'm just going to say hello to my agent just to see if it is responding or not. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching our videos on YouTube and on our website, which is skillset.club. I'm really happy with your comments. I'm really happy with your interactions. Some of you have actually sent me an email also. Some of you have connected a call with me. I'm really happy with the response which I'm getting from this. Still, I want to request you that if possible, just subscribe to our YouTube channel. This is really going to help us to reach out to more people, and it's also going to help you so that you cannot miss any new updated content which is coming from our side. So thank you so much. Happy learning. When I say hello, it's going to generate some response and it's saying, hello, how may I assist you today? So this is basically my agent which has given me the response, and it means it's listening. Now focus on this. When your agent is responding, it's giving you one option here which is called AI quality. Whenever your agent is capable to identify the correct intent of your user, then it's going to be counted as a high quality. Right now it's showing me quality is 2 out of 5 because the intent resolution is not perfect, because when I say hello, basically my agent is not able to understand what I'm trying to do, and basically it's not doing much specific task for me. Now let me put a proper prompt with this. So I'm just going to ask a proper question, which is this. So I'm copying from the lab instructions and I'm saying, what's the maximum I can claim for meal? Now this is something which is a meaningful question. When I put this thing, let's see if my agent is able to understand this. And this time it's showing me that the maximum you can claim for meal is $50 per day. This cover breakfast, lunch and dinner at reasonably priced from the restaurant or cafe, alcoholic beverages and excessive lavish meals exclude from reimbursement item. Now this is something which is there. It's also showing me a reference item which is expensepolicy.docx. I can check the details of that particular policy as of now. And in the below section, now it is showing me that AI quality is 5 out of 5 because this is able to understand that what was the intent of my user. And that's why you can see intent resolution also 5 out of 5. Task adherence is also 5 out of 5 because it's showing me that it has connected with one tool. That tool is nothing but my files tool, which is basically my knowledge tool. Using that, it has taken the document, it has given me this answer. Now, let's say I'm going to ask some question which is associated with this. So let's say I'm going to go back, and after this, I'm going to say that I would like to submit a claim for a meal. So I'm going to copy this, and I'm saying I want to submit a claim for a meal. When I do this, and if I send this, it's showing me, sure, please provide the following details, because as we have given in the instructions, it should take 3 details from the user, which is like email address, a description of the meal and expense, and the amount to be claimed. Let's say in this also, it's showing me the quality is 5 out of 5. We do not have any tools which are used with this. That is perfectly fine. And now I'm going to say that I'm going to provide my email ID. So let's say I'm going to say this is at skilltech@gmail.com. Now this is my email ID. I'm just providing my email ID. By the way, guys, this is the same email ID. If you want to reach out to us, just feel free to connect with us on this email ID. I'm just hitting enter. It's showing me thank you. Now please provide a description of the meal and the amount which you like to claim. Now you can see it automatically understood that I have just given the partial information, the first one, and still it is looking for a few more information. So intent is still not resolved, and fine, I have to provide the meal details also. So I'm just going to say that I had a pizza at, let's say I'm giving a name of the restaurant also, at Domino's, worth, I know that the limit is $50 only, but let's say I'm going to say 54 US dollars. So I'm just going to say 54 USD, and I'm going to hit enter. Now, when I do this thing, it's showing me the policy states that the maximum you can claim for the meal is 50 per day. And that's why they're saying that this is something that the limit is actually exceeding. I recommend you to justify the claim to 50. Unless additional expenses can justify the extra amount, should I proceed with the claim for 50 for this meal? So basically it's checking that condition also, that the limit for that particular logical expense policy, which is given by the organization, is only $50. I'm going to say yes, please proceed. Now, when I say this thing, I'm not saying proceed with claim or proceed with the $50 or something like that. I'm just saying, yes, please proceed. And because it remembers the context, because of the thread, it remembers the context in the memory, it understands that what I'm talking about. And the moment I say this thing, yes, please proceed, it's actually doing what? It knows the next step also. This agent knows that the next step is I have to use code interpreter tool. Using code interpreter tool is submitting those three values like the email address, the description, and the amount. And after this is saying the claim file has been created, you can download it using the link below. Now, how exactly this code is generated? It's generated based on the code interpreter tool. And this time it's showing me again the quality is 5 out of 5. And the tool which is used is code interpreter to actually generate the code for downloading a file. Now, obviously, if I click on this download and expense claim, it's going to download one text file. So I can save it anywhere. Let's say this is expenseclaim.txt, which is fine. And if it is downloaded, if I open this, you can see right now, it's showing me that expense claim submission, the email address, and the pizza at Domino's, $50. The claim has been submitted in accordance with the policy guidelines. And that is something which is a file which is generated here. Now, interesting thing which I want you to see is two things. First, whatever conversation we have done right now is actually tracked. It's actually totally monitored with my threads. So if I go into the thread logs, it's going to show me the exact executional timeline which is available here. So I started on this particular date and time. It's showing me that this is something which is giving me the thread ID with this. Inside the thread, you are actually going to have something which is called run. Every interaction with the user is something which is counted as a run. So you started with the initial run, then the next one. So this is something maybe the hi, hello kind of a message which I have sent. Then the next one which I have given with the proper expense claim kind of a details with that, and it has created a message using a tool call which is a file search. And for each step which is executed inside that run, you can actually get the input, output, and metadata associated with that thread. So basically, this is really going to help developers when you have to deep dive into the execution. When you are actually focusing on threads, it's going to give you step-by-step execution which happens. Even when you're integrating some external tools, it's going to show you the input, output of that tool. It's going to show you the metadata association with this. And most of the time, guys, when we are facing issues or when we are not getting proper responses which are very relevant to the goal, then it's really easy for developers to debug this, trace this, and then find out where is the issue actually. It's a really cool tool. We are going to use threads extensively. But yeah, this is showing me step-by-step configuration of this thing. Now, sometimes when I go to certain tools, for example, code interpreter tool, which is generating a code for me. When I go into this, you can see that it's showing me input and it's showing me the input which they have collected. In the output section, they're not showing me anything right now because this is something which is created from that automatic generated code. And the output is basically not the output which you're giving in the browser, but it's showing you the message creation after this, which is basically showing you that your file which is available at the download is available in some kind of a sandbox which they have configured. So it's an internal sandbox where they are keeping it here, and then you're able to download a file from this. But yeah, this is how this full configuration is actually going to be available using your threads. Now, one important question which I want to add on here is, most of the time when people learn this initial agent development, they ask this question that, what if I ask some other questions other than the expense claim? Is it going to give me the answer based on that or not? For example, I'm saying that, let's say, can you give me details about travel to London next week? So I'm just saying, can you give me some details about travel to London next week? Now I'm just giving some nonsense question right now. And obviously this expense agent should not logically answer this thing. But when I do this thing, because it's an expense agent which is configured like this, you can see right now, it knows its context. It's showing me that for your travel to London next week, we are here the key details regarding expenses. So basically it's focusing on expense only. And it's showing me that the maximum you can claim for the trip will be $500. You should book the most economical and direct mode of transport. and the accommodation is this. So they are actually basically focusing on expense only right now. Now let's say I'm saying that, can you suggest some budget-friendly hotels? Can you suggest some budget-friendly hotels? I'm just putting this thing, and you can see right now they are saying, unfortunately, I cannot access the real-time data for making bookings. However, the budget-friendly hotels in London, consider checking out this like Booking.com, Airbnb, Travelodge, or Premier Inn. Now, basically, this is not connected with my real-time data. If you say, Maruti, I want to provide the real-time data also, I want to provide what kind of hotels are available for booking, and then maybe my agent can book that also. Well, that is possible if you add more action tools. Now, maybe in that case, maybe I have to click on add, and then I have to do some kind of a real-time booking API configurations with that, and then it's going to be capable to do that thing. So this is how it is, guys. Your agent is right now focusing on the specific task, and that's why it is actually capable to do certain things only. But it's still going to give you a proper response. You can see it's not saying that this is out of the scope or this is something which I cannot give answer. It's an inappropriate question. It's giving you better response compared to your traditional chatbot, which are only giving you answers from knowledge base. So this is much better than chatbot. This is agent. Now, last thing which I want to add on in this particular video is very important. Focus on this thing. When I go to my agent section in the left side column, this is going to show me that I have one agent, which is my expense agent, because this is the only agent which I have created. Also, when I click on my threads, it's going to show me that I have only one thread, because this is the one which I've created today morning. Now, every time when you go to my agent section, and suppose if you select the agent, and then you have a section called try in playground. Remember this one thing, guys. Every time when you select your agent, and if you say I want to try this agent in playground, this is actually going to create a new thread on that same agent. So basically, if I click on try in playground, when I do this, this agent is actually going to give me a new thread which is initiated right now. Remember, the agent configuration is going to be same. You can see the agent name, the instructions, the knowledge, the action tool, everything is actually same. This is going to be working fine. And this is maybe I'm saying that I want to submit expense claim for my Dubai travel, let's say. And it's going to give me a response, but focus on one thing. When it's giving me response, it's asking me the details. Now you can see right now it's showing me the thread ID, which is APWR5 something something is there. And now if I go back to agents, and if I click on my threads, agent is only one, but if I click on my threads, I'm going to have two different threads. This was the older one, this is the newer one, which is just started right now. And whichever thread I want to now work on, I can click on that thread, and I can click on try in playground. Remember, this time I'm not clicking on agent and then saying that try in playground. If you do this thing, every time it's going to create a new thread. But if you go to the my thread section, and then if you select the thread, and then if you say try in playground, it's going to open that specific thread only in the playground, and then you can provide further information inside that. So this is how it is working. It is like the hierarchy which I mentioned. One project is going to have multiple language models. One language model can have multiple agents, and one agent can have multiple threads inside that. And each agent and thread are going to have unique IDs associated with that. So agent is also having agent ID, and threads are also having threads ID, which basically looks like this. You can see here, this is my agent ID, which is assistant with some kind of an ID with this. And this is my thread ID, which is thread underscore some kind of an ID with this. We are going to use this thing in our next, and I think almost every lab. So just keep this thing in mind. And register to our website, which is skilltech.club. That website is going to give you so many cool Azure certification courses. And if you need any guidance, if you need any mentorship support, or if you're looking for a scalable lab which are chargeable, just connect with us. We are more than happy to help you in that. Thank you so much. I'll see you in next video.